In this first exercise of the chapter, we're going to create a method that allows me to compute the tip of a restaurant bill. A very simple method, but it's a good exercise. So let's start our program. We're going to call it tipcalc.rb. And we're going to write this program top down. In other words, I'm going to write the main program first and then add the method definition in later. So we're going to skip some lines because I still want the method definition to go at the top. So the first thing we're going to do is prompt the user to enter the amount of the bill. Then we'll get that response from the user and then convert it to a floating point number since there's probably going to be a fractional part. Here's where the tipcalc method is called, even though I haven't defined it yet. We'll define it in just a moment. Then we're going to add the tip to the bill to get the total, and then we're going to display the total. Remember to call the toString method on the total so that it can be concatenated to the string. Now let's go back and define tipcalc. So it's going to take some amount, and all it's going to do is take that amount and multiply it by 15%, and then end. Let's tighten it up. Now, before we go on and test the program, let me talk a little bit about using return with methods. In Ruby, it's not absolutely necessary to have a return in a method. If you leave out the return, then the last value computed is the return value of the method. However, I like to put the return in the method definition explicitly so that it's easy to tell what value is going to be returned by the method. This is important because it's possible to have method return values that aren't the last line of the method. Imagine if you had some type of method that's comparing some value to some other value. And if the comparison is true, the method returns one thing, and if the comparison is false, it returns another thing. So you could have an if-else if with a return in the if part and a return in the else if part. Now, that's not necessarily considered, or it didn't used to be considered, good programming style. But over the last few years, or the last several years, it's become accepted to have more than one return statement in a method definition. And so for that reason, even though it's not idiomatic Ruby, I prefer to put the return in explicitly. Okay, I'll jump off my soapbox now and let's give this program a try. So we'll save it, open up our command prompt. So let's say our bill is $10, then our total is $11.50. So I could do some more formatting to make that prettier, but you get the idea. Let's go back and look at the code one more time. So our method takes one parameter, multiplies that parameter by 15%, and then returns that value to the calling program, and that value is replaced at that point and assigned to tip. Then we add tip to bill to get total, and then we display the total. So that wraps up this first exercise with methods, and we're going to move on to the second and last method exercise of this chapter.